Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about the reversals that President Trump is making on his H1B policies. And not only on H1B policies, on international students policies. So he had made two pronouncements in the past few days, which have completely riled up his base. The MAGA is completely frustrated by Donald Trump's reversal. It appears that he's surrendering to lobbyists, and especially to technocrats and big donors, and changing and reversing policies. And in many ways, he is also abandoning and, shall we say, betraying the trust that the MAGA people had placed in Donald Trump. So first, let's watch this video from Fox News, in which he spoke with one of the Fox News hosts and dropped the bomb that their Americans lack talent, and therefore we need to bring people in on H1B visas, which clearly acknowledges that perhaps his policies in the past of trying to curb foreign migration of skilled workers was not a good idea. So let's watch this.
You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment.
Let me play it from the beginning.
Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
I don't understand the logic of her question. For example, she says that if you want to raise the wages for American workers, you have to curb for migration of skilled workers from overseas. How's that? Like, why are we giving lesser pay to Americans when one of the criticisms of H1B is that foreigners who are coming to America are working for 80 hours a week for far less than what Americans with the same qualifications would demand. So in one way, there are those who criticize H1B for exploiting foreign workers, but basically paying less and getting more from foreigners who are not here just to work, but also are trying to seek a pathway to a better life and become American citizens, etc., and therefore are willing to be exploited for a decade or so in exchange for a life in America. So her argument that by curtailing H-1B visas, we will raise wages for American workers does not make sense, because if those American workers had the skills that American companies were looking for, then they would have got those jobs.
Can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When a country...
Oh, this is where it got really, really rough.
We have talented people
here.
You don't.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
I'll give
you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way. Republicans have to talk.
So this is the point that he's trying to make, and he's arguing here, saying that, look, we just can't take any random American who is unemployed from the unemployment line and just put him in a high-skilled position. So they can't be making missiles, is his way of saying that, look, we need people who have high skills in coding, in computer sciences, in economics and finance, etc. So that's why we are bringing in talent, and we just can't just generate that talent. So for the first time, instead of saying American workers are the best, American factories are the best, Americans are the best, blah, 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 he's suddenly acknowledging. So how did this happen? So Donald Trump, even in his first term, and I looked at it and I was quite surprised by his record. So in his first term, he did try to essentially curb the H1B thing. And it was surprising that, he came up with this idea of buy American, hire American. And then he passed an executive order in 2017 when he was elected the first time. And he tried to restrict, for example, he reversed the sequence of the lottery. So in the past, apparently, the 20,000 visas for people with master's plus degrees were issued first, and then the lottery was conducted for 65,000 people. And now he reversed that. I don't know how that impacted really, but he tried in many ways to curb H1B, and he lost in the courts several times. So there were 2 or 3 cases where he completely lost in his attempts to curb H1B. So when he comes here in the second term, he's tried again, and he raised, if you all remember, he announced a $100,000 fee, and then that's the interesting part. So Donald Trump announces that I'm going to impose $100,000 fee on H1B visas, and people who are outside the country, they cannot come back into the country unless they pay the $100,000 fee. And if you remember, there was complete chaos. 70 to 71% of H1B visa holders are Indians, and so for them it was a huge problem. And so there are stories out there that talk about how people spend thousands of dollars trying to get back in before the deadline. But then he started making corrections to the same policy. So further said, no, it's only first-time applicants who will have to pay $100,000 in visa fee for H1B. The companies will have to pay it. Individuals themselves don't have to pay it. And if you're applying if you already have an H1B, you're just applying for an extension or renewal, then you don't have to pay the H1B fees. And if you're on H1, you can travel. So you don't have to pay the $100,000 to get back in. And then again, a little later, he made another change in the H1 policy by saying, look, if you are a student on F1 visa, you are a master student or grad students doing some specialized work, and then you're transitioning from F visa to H visa, then you don't have to pay $100,000 fee. So basically, he started restricting when that $100,000 barrier will be applied. And then now he comes out and basically makes this announcement that Americans lack talent, so we need to bring H1B people. So I have a feeling that very soon he might simply announce that we are getting rid of the $100,000 fee because it is becoming quite restrictive on people. And anyway, these talented people come here and make a lot more money for America. So why are we restricting them by imposing a $100,000 barrier? So I think he's preparing to announce sooner than later that he's going to get rid of the $100,000 fee for first-time applicants of students who have not studied in the U.S. But what is this all about, really? What is this happening? He also made an interesting observation. This was to Laura Ingraham, who's a Fox News host, and the MAGA crowd is just going absolutely crazy. They feel that he has betrayed them, and he's once again going back to the old format of bringing foreign workers, undermining, and then, of course, on top of that, he actually insults American workers. And that is not going to sit well with most MAGA crowd who think they are superior than foreigners. They think they are superior people by race. And by birth and by nationality. We are Americans. How can we be less talented than Indians or foreigners or Japanese or whatever? So now when Donald Trump is actually telling them that they're not as talented as potentially most H1B users are Indians, that doesn't sound good to him. But he also made another comment which kind of should have got more attention. It did get some backlash from MAGA, but not enough when he says that he's going to bring in 600,000 Chinese students to the United States. So in the past few years, the number of Indian students are around 300,000, 3 lakhs, and the Chinese students are about 240, 250,000. In the US, about 2.5 lakhs. And he is now, and that has been reducing. The Chinese students used to be the largest number of students in the United States, but since this whole tension with China has increased, we have started hiring and admitting less students in say STEM places. If a Chinese student applied for a PhD in nuclear physics or chemistry or mathematics or any advanced sciences, the universities were less willing to admit them. And so if you applied for political science, history, or English or something like that, they were getting. So the number of students who were applying to the US were being forced to either go towards non-STEM programs or they were being rejected. And then the scrutiny on Chinese researchers and scholars, there were a couple of arrests. All of that kind of dampened the enthusiasm. On top of that, we notice that there is a spike in the ranking of Chinese universities. I'm talking to you from Hong Kong right now. I'm here in Hong Kong at the Chinese University of Hong Kong to give a keynote address at a conference on the Indo-Pacific and shifts in balances of power. And let me tell you, when I left the US last week, I saw a lot of announcements in India. They're saying that many Indian universities have qualified in the top 100 of QS Asian university rankings. There are none in the top 50, by the way. I'm going to do a special show on that. But the University of Hong Kong or Hong Kong University is number one. And I was looking at the top 10 are mostly Chinese universities. And even in the top 10 global ranking, you're beginning to see more and more Chinese universities becoming ranked much higher than many American universities, especially for STEM research. In fact, I was listening to the CEO of NVIDIA, and he was saying that 50% of all AI researchers, top-notch AI researchers, are now in China, and a lot of research on AI is happening in Chinese universities. So a lot of Chinese students are going to Chinese universities and preferring to go there than come to American universities, pay extra money, stay away from home, and then face some kind of racial and other nationality-based discrimination. So all of that was already happening. That's why the number of Chinese students were being reduced. And then, bam, Donald Trump now announced that after he met with Xi Jinping, he told them that, oh, this is very good. We will check out on the students. We will do, obviously, our due diligence in evaluating them. And so we are going to bring in 600,000 Chinese students because our universities need them, and our universities will not do well without foreign students who literally bring about, he said trillions of dollars, but I think the total amount of money that international students used to bring at the peak was $33 billion per year for the US. So right now, Donald Trump has done two things, which is reversing his policy and his viewpoint on H1-B and on international students. And that has really driven the MAGA crowd completely crazy. They feel they have been abandoned. So let's try and understand why this is happening. So this lecture is about the tensions between national interest and special interest. So Donald Trump feels that it's paramount for national interest that we reindustrialize America. That's what all these tariffs, etc., is to bring back manufacturing to America. So the whole goal is to reindustrialize America. And he wants American workers to be doing serious work, all of that. But American corporations, that is in the American national interest. That is what people like. It is also in the interest of a vast number of Americans who feel that they have become irrelevant in their own country because foreigners are coming and taking the best of jobs and going to the best of universities and getting higher paid positions. To some extent, that is true. But Donald Trump, in his second term, in spite of all his rhetoric during the campaign of placing America first, has consistently placed special interest first. So, for example, he said, I will get out of Ukraine because it's not in our national interest, which I agree with him. But he's still involved. He's still trying to bring peace to Ukraine. He's still imposing sanctions like he did on India in order to protect Ukraine. He's still selling weapons. I'm sure they're giving it at a discounted rate or even doing it in such a way that the American public is not able to fully understand the extent of US support for Ukraine. So they're giving weapons to Ukraine, they're giving support, diplomatic attention, and then, of course, we saw with the case of Israel, this is clearly Israel first foreign policy in the Middle East, attacking Iran, giving, again, billions of dollars to the Iranians, to the Israelis, getting involved, compelling countries to try and recognize, forcing Kazakhstan in a way, or incentivizing it to join the Abrahamic Accords. All of these policies are Israel first and not America first. So the MAGA crowd is saying, what the heck are you doing? We elected you because you kept saying America first, America first, America first. And now it appears that it's all about special interests. So I think that all the tech guys like Elon Musk and Larry Ellison, the owner of Oracle, who's helping him by buying TikTok. So all of these who are also very pro-Israel tech billionaires who gave a lot of money to Donald Trump have basically said, look, we need this talent. If you want to be competitive with China, if you want to stay ahead, if you want American companies to do well, we need to bring these talented people to America. Otherwise, we will lose our profitability. We will lose all of this. So I think someone has sat down and he has listened. And so he now understands and says, oh, we don't have the talent. And so he's trying to explain to Laura Ingraham that, look, I just can't take anybody and put them in a high-tech position. I can't take somebody off the unemployment line and get them to make missiles. That's not going to happen. So we are in that kind of a situation right now where Donald Trump seems to be reversing all of his pronouncements, which were MAGA oriented and America first. When will he realize that, yes, these policies are wrong? Yes, the reason why I'm having to reverse so much of my H1-B policy is because my initial position was fundamentally wrong. And now then on international students, he suddenly, when is it going to dawn upon him that America's strategic advantage, America's comparative advantage comes from American universities, America's research, America's staying ahead, whether it is in artificial intelligence or robotics or any other form of medical health research. If you want to stay ahead of China and other countries who are stepping up into the realm of research, the research has to come from American universities, and American universities have been magnets. They have been attracting talent from all over the world, and if you want to give that up by eliminating H1B or making it difficult for H1B, making the life of international students miserable, I mean, this is really, really, they went really nasty, and then now they realize that the stupidity, either they have realized the stupidity of their policies or they just sold out. And they need a lot of money to try and win in the midterm. And so these corporate billionaires are saying, look, we're going to give you money, but we want H1B. We're going to give you money, but we want international students coming here. So that's why he's reversing. I hope he's reversing these policies because he's understood the wisdom or lack of wisdom in his original position. And look at his approval ratings. I'm going to close with that. Then I will look at your comments and your questions. So this is his approval rating. This is today's The Economist. So nearly 300 days in his first term, his approval ratings is minus 18%. This is stunning. And so only 39% Americans approve. This probably is a measure of, this is lesser than the total number of Republicans in this country. So this is the MAGA crowd. 39% still approve of him and 57% disapprove. I mean, there are 4% people who are not very sure. So this is really going down. You can see the chart. His approval ratings are completely going down. So this also must be something that is worrying him, that if my approval rating stays so low going into the midterm, then he will become a handicap for people who are running for elections. On top of this, the Epstein climate crisis seems to be gaining momentum, and emails are now being leaked out which suggest that Donald Trump may have spent some time, we don't know for sure yet, with one of the victims, but very clearly that Donald Trump is mentioned quite a bit in the emails, and there are people who feel that once the videos and photographs, etc., are released, which are part of Epstein files, it might be extremely detrimental to Donald Trump. But I think it is going to be detrimental to most of the American elite. And of course, one of the reasons to hide this is because of the Israeli connection. Once again, America is placing Israel's interest ahead of America's interest. And so in order to protect the fact that there was some kind of Israeli connection to what Epstein was doing, blackmailing American leadership, they are trying their best to hide this. And unfortunately for us, the leading person, along with Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, is Kash Patel, who spent 2 or 3 years promising to unveil everybody who was hiding behind who was hiding Epstein's crimes, etc. Now, Kash Patel, who became the FBI director to expose everybody behind the Epstein pedophilia ring, has become the leading protector of pedophiles in this country. It's such a sad story. These people have no self-respect, no integrity. They should have quit their jobs if Donald Trump had made them demanded something which was against the mandate for which they took those jobs. So that is all I have to say for today. I know a lot of Indian viewers are more focused on what's happening in Bihar. Bihar's election results are coming out. I don't follow India's domestic politics that closely, and you must have seen that I did a few shows on the Delhi blast, and I wrote a couple of articles on that. And so one of my articles was just published in the Diplomat, which I shared on the post section of the YouTube channel. So you should take a look at it. So let's see if there are any interesting questions or comments from you all, and then I'll be happy to answer them. Greetings to you, Aryan. White Elephant, what a nice handle. I will talk about the Bihar elections once the results are out. And oh, okay, this kind of comments are people are making generalizations. Sabun, walaikum salam to you. White Elephant. The Delhi attack happened after the first phase of elections were over and before the second phase of elections. So the second phase was on 11. The attack happened on the 10th of November. If there is a significant pattern difference between the first phase and the second phase, so you could say that, oh, in the first phase, NDA and India were going neck and neck, the Mahagathbandhan and NDA were going neck to neck, and then after the second phase, NDA went very far ahead and Gathbandhan fell behind. If something like that happens, then you can say, yes, the Delhi attack had an impact on the Bihar election. But if the pattern of voting and in the first phase of the Bihar elections and the second phase of the elections were similar, identical, then you can say that, well, the bombing did not have any impact on the elections. Umar Mughal, it's a very interesting question. Are Democrats pro-China? Democrats have become very pro-tech. Basically, they're pro-money. These guys are both the parties guys are, leaders are all pro-money. They want money. And the money is now with the tech guys. So the tech guys are able to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on campaigns. Elon Musk spent something like $277 million to make sure that Donald Trump won. So whether you're a Democrat or whether you're a Republican, you want Elon Musk supporting you and spending his hundreds of millions. And these guys have literally hundreds of billions of dollars now. It's ridiculous how much money is concentrated in the hands of a few people. And so we don't really have democracies anymore in the world. We have oligarchies, these rich people dictating even to elected leaders what to do. And that is very sad. And talking about, like, for example, Eric Adams, the current mayor of New York, is going to Israel again. Why does the mayor of New York have to go to Israel? I think he's going today or tomorrow, because the billionaires who supported him want him to do that. And so that's why democracies are becoming weaker and weaker, even when their economies are doing well, because, well, economies that are doing well are producing billionaires who then are undermining democracy itself. Akshat Subra, you don't know how hard my kids worked. And they worked all the year round. And I can tell you definitely they worked very hard. And they work very hard as faculties, as American professors. We work very hard in research. I do all the time. You should see how much work I do. So I completely disagree with this whole idea that Americans do not work hard and only Indians work hard. I've seen what Indians also do in India. They may work hard here, but certainly not in India. And once they get into IITs, they're not working that hard. They're not doing that much research at all. So this whole generalization that, oh, Indians work hard and Americans don't. No, Americans build a country. Americans build a country which Indians are leaving during Amrit Kal and going away. if you open the doors, I think half of India will come here to the country that Americans have built. So be reasonable in your accounts. Yes, in this one small field of tech related and medicine, the Indians are doing well at this moment. And they're not doing well in India. If they're so brilliant and so hardworking, why come to America at all and face racism? Stay at home and build great companies there. Good morning, Naveed, to you. China and Russian students are very hardworking. That is true. I don't know about Russians, but we have a lot of Russians and East Europeans who do very well in sciences, lots of professors here. Chinese, of course, have dominated in many of the fields. Chinese Americans have also done well, both in academia as well as in the tech sector. So, I mean, there are people who are doing well. There are lots of Pakistanis who do well in medicine. In fact, the best cardiologists, the best pulmonologists in the state of Delaware are both of Pakistani background. So yeah, there are people who are doing well. There are also, they come less. Many of them stay in their own countries because they're not running away. The best talent from India is leaving India. The best talent from England is living in England. They're happy there. The best talent in Germany is living in Germany. They don't want to leave Germany and run away to America. So people don't see that. Indians don't find India worth living in. So they will go anywhere. They go to Australia, to UK, to America. Indians are going everywhere but staying in India. So the best of Indian talent is out there, whereas the best of other talents is staying back home. Here in Hong Kong, I'm meeting a lot of people who are brilliant people in Hong Kong universities. They're not running away to America. They're not spending every day of their time trying to see where American universities are. I met several American Hong Kong professors. Not one of them has asked me, how can I come to America? In fact, they are telling me, why don't you come here and teach, at least for one semester? It's the other way around. So people don't notice that. I don't know about Kash Patel because he's not elected, but Mamdani's election shows that American elections are fair and that Americans are open-minded. Yes. Yes, I'm still live. Sabun, what are you thinking of Delhi's bomb attack? You must be worried. Oh, I'm in America because I love America. All right, guys. Thank you for watching Conversations. It's taken time out, and I'm off to go to my conference here in Hong Kong, and then I might, in the evening, once all the results are announced, join a couple of channels in India to talk about what's going on with the Bihar elections. But until then, take care. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share it with your socio-political network. Until next time, I'm your host, Muqtadar Khan. Take care.